because you
Yep, yep,
want,
yep.
yeah,
You can just move to next slide.
yeah.
Yep. So this is a safe harbor statement, guys. So both speaker and the host here, me and Venkatesh, are organizing this meetup in our individual capacity. So we are not representing our companies over here. And whatever information Venkatesh is going to share in this meetup, it is for strictly for learning purposes, and we don't hold any responsibility that whatever solution which Venkatesh is going to present in this meetup, it will work for your business requirements. Okay, so and this presentation is not meant for any promotional activities. And a general housekeeping rule, guys, within 24 hours, the recording of this meetup would be uploaded. Okay, and after this meetup is over, you'll be getting a feedback email. So please fill in your feedback so that we can improve ourselves in the coming meetups. Yeah, so I'm the organizer for this meetup. So I'm working as a tech arc in Infosys, and I'm MuleSoft ambassador, and I'm MuleSoft Mohali meetup leader. I have overall 14 years of experience in integration domain. So I have worked in IBM studying integrator and then in TIPCO, and now I'm working in MuleSoft. Okay, so I love sharing my knowledge on MuleSoft via video tutorials. So I have my own YouTube channel called Your Integration Buddy. So if you got some time, do check out some of the stuff I have posted over there, and we can connect on LinkedIn as well.
Okay, cool. Thanks a lot, because
Yep.
yep. So this is me, guys. Hi, this is Juja Rao. I'm working here at Infosys only. I'm working as a senior consultant. These are my credentials in MuleSoft, and I do write blogs on Medium. This is my LinkedIn profile, and I'm MuleSoft mentor as well. So without any further ado, let's start with our. So this is our today's agenda. I know everyone knows why we need a policy. Okay, just to make this session bit interesting, right? I just came up with a hypothetical use case where through which I would try to explain the need of policy. I know everyone knows about it, but let's go in a flow. Go with the flow. Then we'll go on straight away on the MuleSoft custom policy workflow. So I'm not sure if you have created a policy a year or 2 years back. So that time the workflow was a bit different than what I have observed recently. So we'll discuss about that, and then we'll see what all the development step we need to follow. And at the end, we'll package and do a deployment of a policy, and we'll see a demo. Okay. So let's try to understand the need of policy. Okay, so again, as I said, I have put up one hypothetical organization, a scenario as well. So let's say I have a front end application. Then I have this n number of MuleSoft application. Each application may have around 20, 15, 5, so n number of endpoints within an application. Okay, that will store that data, or that will interact with the database or store the data to a database. Okay, now let's say I got a request from a front end. A user is putting some information through front end. It will come to, and from MuleSoft will straight away store it to a database with some transformation. Okay, and then let's say that information will be visible on the desktop. When the user next time comes and retrieve, it will be visible as the same thing, how he or she has been entered the data. Okay, but let's say there is some unwanted entity, right, which troublemakers, which who wants to disturb the systems and all, right. That unwanted entity get hold of the application, and he or she try to inject some HTML code as part of one of the attribute. Okay, now as of now I don't have any attribute level validation where it says this particular characters are not allowed. It just do a data type check whether it's present or not. Okay, so that's why it will straight away go to my database with the same transformation logic, because there is no issue with the transformation. We are expecting name in a string. We are passing the required field also, so that's why the same logic has been worked and data has been inserted. But now when the actual user try to see the data, instead of seeing the actual name, he or she will be seeing the image, because they are passing the HTML code where they are trying to inject some image or some kind of a code. Okay, so because of that, this unwanted entity is able to do a data alteration. Okay, and because of which our UI feature is broken here. This is not the actual feature of a UI, right? This is because they are passing unwanted code, so it's breaking here. Okay, so there are multiple options to overcome this issue. So from MuleSoft perspective, we could go with two option. One, we can fix this through a raml. We could add a regex regular expression validation on each and every attribute. See, this time they made the changes with the name. This is a string field, but now last name is also a string field, right? Like this, we will be having a number of string fields. So on each and every string field, we have to add some kind of a regular expression, which will identify the special characters and reject that particular request on the gateway level itself. Okay, so that we could achieve through raml, where we will be implementing regex for each and every attribute. So when we go with the raml approach, we won't be having any reusability there, because we have to define that regex for every attribute. Okay, it requires a lot of manual work. And let's say in future any additional characters we needs to add, right? Again, we have to touch base upon all the endpoints within this application wherever we have a string data type. So it calls for it calls for a lot of reworks whenever any small change is also required. That's the first option. Second option, as we know, we could go with the policy, but as of now we don't have any out of the box policy, so we could build our own. We could build our own custom policy, where we could apply this fix, the same regular expression approach we could apply through a policy. Okay, and the same policy could be applied on this n number of applications. Okay, and we could write a logic such a way that within our policy it will parse through, or it will traverse through each and every attribute within a payload and look for that regular expression validation, so that in future if there are any changes in the special characters or regular expression, we could do directly via policy configurations. So it's a very minimal rework. Okay, so this is the need of our custom policy. Okay, I hope the use case is clear here. So we'll see at the end how we will address this particular use case through custom policy. Yeah, anyone has any
Okay.
question?
So Venkatesh, what if I put a limit to the number of characters in the RAM data type?
You could do, that's what I'm saying, you could do through a attribute level. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
but
Mm-hmm.
again, see, you put a character limit, you will put it character limit on name, but there would be
Correct.
a text area where you will be accepting a paragraph as well. I have just given a simple text area here. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so consider a website where user will submit a form through which the lead gets generated. So whenever leads get generated, user has to put some additional information also. That's first thing. Second thing, again, you are doing a restriction over a field level attribute, and we never know on which field we want to do a restriction, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we could definitely go through raml, but for this specific use case, right? If we go through raml, I could see a lot of reworks, because you see, right? Application one has nearly about 20 endpoints, application 2 again 20, 3, 5, 15. So I have a number of endpoints. If I do that many number of regular expressions, right, that is the time consuming. So if we
Yep, it has to be
if
done for every application, correct?
yeah, that's for every application, right? If I
Yep.
develop policy, I just have to go and apply it on the API manager.
Yep.
That's it. That's first thing, right? And second, as I said, right, the rework, if any changes required, again you will end up doing changes in all the applications.
Okay. Yep.
Rather, you could do just change on the configuration of policy.
Yep. Got it.
Yeah. So both options are there, but
Yeah, the
the
policy one is
most,
more efficient, basic.
yeah, it's a more efficient in
Cool.
this use
Thank you.
case. Okay, cool. So let's go ahead. Now let's try to understand the MuleSoft custom policy workflow. So as I said, right, uh, based on my personal experience, when I created a policy 2 or 3 years back, okay, I followed this workflow where I'll create a policy via archetype. There I could do, I will be adding my in template.xml, and then we'll be having one YAML file. Within that YAML file, I'll be having all my configurable values, what all values are needed from the UI. Along with that, I'll be having all the policy details, whether this, what is the description of the policy should be applied on the API level or resource level. All that details I'll be defining in the YAML file. Then I'll implement the policy in template.xml. I'll package the policy and I'll deploy. Okay. But now, recently, which I have worked on the current policy workflow, there we don't have any concept of combined YAML file where we define the attribute which will be shown on the policy configuration page and policy details. So that they have divided into two parts, a JSON schema and YAML file. So first we have to create a policy definition file. In JSON schema, we'll see in the subsequent slide, we will be defining all the attributes what we want user to configure when we are applying the policy. So all that attribute will be defined in the JSON schema. In the YAML file, again, we will give the policy details. Okay, whether this should be resource level, what is the purpose of the policy, and all that details. Okay. Then again in template.xml, we will be defining our logic. Then we have to define a meta file. Again, this is a YAML file where we'll kind of write a release notes. What this version is used for, what the next version has addressed the issue from the previous one, what add-on features will be getting in the next version. So all that release notes will be having in the meta file. Then we'll package the policy and deploy. Okay, so it's kind of same, only three additional files has been introduced here. Okay, so let's see how the workflow looks like in option 2. Okay, so here we will create a definition file. Again, as I said, right, in definition file we have a YAML file, and in the YAML file we'll see in detail how the YAML file looks like. Okay, so we'll have a YAML file, and then we have a JSON file. You can't see here in clear, but let me just zoom it. So this is how the YAML file look like. Okay, where we'll give the name, description, what is the category, compliance, security, then the interface, whether it would be on the API level, resource level, or encryption supported. Similarly, this is a JSON where I'll be defining the user configured values, regex, and the exclude attribute list. Okay, so we'll see that in detail in the next slide. Okay, yeah. So now, once we have created a definition file, we will be uploading this definition file to Exchange. So we will be publishing that as an asset on Exchange. So first we will be creating asset with this definition files only. Then we will implement a policy. So when we implement a policy, we will rely on these three files. We'll relying on this template.xml, pom.xml, mute artifact.json, and then meta.yaml. So when we package it, all this three template, pom, mule, artifact, JSON will come as part of our jar, and meta file we have to upload as a release notes. We'll see when we go to implementation. So this is how it look like when we add it to the exchange. Okay, so here we will give our jar and we will give our release notes. So first we will create an asset with our definition file, and then we will attach our implementation to that asset, and then we will attach the policy to the API. So anyone has any question on this workflow?
Uh, no, Venkatesh, I don't see any question.
Okay, good. So after that, so let's see what this definition file is. Okay, so as I said, right, JSON file, JSON schema file. So it specifies the interface for the policy by identifying which properties are required or supported to configure the policy. And then we have a YAML file, right? this is the information about the policy and its requirement. Okay, and this YAML is not tied to any specific to runtime or binary. So whatever jar will create, right, it will not tie to that. So again, this is a sample what I have just showed in previous slide, and this is a YAML file. Okay, so here we have some description. So let me zoom it. So you see here, right, whatever we have inside properties. Okay, so these are the required or supported to configure the policy. Then within the type, these are the supported type: integer, string, object, boolean, and array. And again, we would be having a format. I have not used any format here, but we would be having a format where we could give a data view expression as well. So if we give format as a data view expression, so we could have some expression written in the configuration file. Okay, and then these are the top level context reference, the vocabulary used for the extra type of annotation. So this data view expression, right, so this would be referred in this vocabulary. Okay, and then when YAML, this is a required header policy definition 0.1, then the name, description, and then the category. So we have the category like security, quality of services, compliance, and there are others as well. Okay, then provider characteristics. So all these parameters what I have given is a required one. You have to go with these parameters. If you are not defining it, you won't be able to create your asset in the exchange. Okay, so now we understood about the these two files, JSON and the YAML schema files. Let's see the implementation, right? So so it, as I said, right, it concerns the metadata and the binary file. So in the jar we will be having the actual policy logic, and then the metadata file will be having the description, whether it's for mule 4, then the release notes and all that details. So again, as I said, right, jar template mule and pom.xml file, and in the metadata will be having the mandatory header policy implementation 1.0, then what version it's supported, then supported java version, technology we are using mule 4, and then the name of the policy, and then if you have any release notes. Any questions so far, guys? Okay,
No, Venkatesh, all good.
sure. Thanks, Vikas. So now this is the steps we are going to see on the custom policy. Okay. So we are going to create a skeleton project of a policy through this archetype. Okay. I'll just quickly go to a notepad and I'll show you. One minute. Okay. So these are the archetype I'm going to use. Okay. So I'll be generating the API gateway custom policy archetype. Okay, the version I'm using is 1.0. So this will be the maven command what we'll be getting, and we have to replace this with our organization ID. Usually our business group ID when we say org ID, and then the what the policy name should be, and the version of our policy, our asset. Okay, and the package should be mule policy. Now what I'll do, I'll just create one folder, and we'll just run this command. Okay, so it will download this particular archetype. Okay, meanwhile it's downloading this. Let me show you one more thing. So you need to add this repo, because this archetype is not available. Okay, so you need to add a repo so that it would download the archetype. Okay, so let's see. So I guess I have entered it wrongly. So let me just delete it, guys. So once it's done, right, it will ask for a policy description. Okay, I'll just give as a test policy and then name test name. Okay, then just confirm all the details what we have provided. Then say yes, and if we check our delete me, now we could basic structure. So this is still using the option one, where the YAML will gets created by default. In this YAML, we could see the older conventions. Okay, now in the main, we'll be having a template.xml. Okay, so it has just created a sample template for us. Okay, now what I'll do, I'll just go. I have already created one full-fledged policy for our demo. So we'll go through each and every file, and then what I'll do, I'll just rename what we say, artifact ID. Okay, because this one I have already deployed on my exchange. I'll rename artifact ID. I'll just add hyphen v1 at the end, and we'll see how we will deploy it from the scratch. Okay, so before doing that, first let's try to see that two definition file which we have gone through in the slides. So I'll just open the definition YAML. Here I'll, as I was showing on the slide, right, I have given the name, description, the category is compliance. Then I have added this as a attribute level validation, and I want it to be on the both API and resource. So I would get an option there whether I want to apply everything on the means I want to apply this policy on all available resources or a specific resource. Okay, and encryption I have kept it as false. Then in definition,
So
yeah,
all these files are generated via that archetype
no, no,
script.
no, no. That
Okay.
archetype script will only generate 1 minute. That will only generate your single YAML file, which is a combination of your both the configuration attribute and your policy related information. So as I said, right, this is still the version what I'm referring here. It's still following the older one. Okay, so the
Okay.
other three file what I was showing, you have to generate it manually. So all
Okay.
these
Okay.
three files I have generated manually, and I have deleted the YAML which I have got by default from the
Oh,
archetype.
okay. Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay. So it's a manual
yeah,
work
it's
we
a
have to do.
manual we have to do.
So that was an old process basically.
Yes,
We don't need to follow that.
yes, yes. So I see. I haven't tested the old process since I have did it 3 years back. Okay, now whether it is working or not, that I don't know. I followed the
Okay.
recent one.
This is a new one
Yeah, this
basically.
is the new one. What I can see through MuleSoft documentation.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. So now this is my JSON where I'll be having two attribute. Okay, where regex will be my required field. User has to enter that, and exclude attribute list is the optional field. Okay, so we'll see what it does. Okay, what this exclude attribute list does. Okay, and what is the regex once we go through the implementation, policy implementation. Okay, and then these are the things, the context what I'll be giving. Okay, rest all things are standard JSON related attributes. Then this meta YAML will go with my implementation. Okay, so it's the same details what we have seen in the PPT. In artifact JSON, I have added the details. Okay, so my template.xml, then uh, the artifact ID, group ID, artifact ID, and version, then minimum mule version, and all other details. And in the pom.xml, you could add all your dependency. As I haven't added the HTTP extension here, as I don't have the enterprise edition license on my personal one, so that won't work. Added that dependency, so it's just a dependency what I'm using in my code, like validator component. Okay, 1 minute, guys. 1 minute, guys.
Did you share the definition file?
Yeah,
Yeah,
sorry
yeah,
about
he
that.
will show the definition. Yeah, Venkatesh.
Yeah,
So can you show a definition? Harshit is asking to show you the definition, that definition YAML file again.
YAML, is it?
Yep, definition.yaml. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, Harshit.
Harshit, do you have any questions over here?
No, 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 thanks.
Yep, thank you very much.
Okay, cool.
Maybe
So
you can paste the content over here after this meetup. Okay,
I
Venkatesh.
have wrote one blog. I have added everything there because. So
Okay, maybe in your blog. Okay, fine. After this meeting, maybe you can paste
yes,
that blog over here.
I'll just share that link.
Sure,
Yes,
sure, sure. Fine. No worries. Thank you.
yes. Now we'll see the template one, the actual implementation. So the policy structure or the tags what we used to use earlier also, it's the same one, where we'll be having the policy proxy. Under that we have a source. Okay, within a source we have I'm just looking for one thing here. Yeah, in the source we should be having one more parameter. Yeah, the execute next. Okay, so I believe everyone know how it flows, right? The control comes to the policy, it will execute this try block first. Okay, if everything goes well, it will enter into our application. Okay, now let's say if something failed in the try, I have the exception handler configure here, it will directly go here, so it won't enter into my application. If any error occurred here, it will directly jump onto my error handler, log the error message, and break the flow there itself. It won't come to my application. If everything goes smoothly, everything runs fine, it will execute this and it will goes to my application flow, the policy and application flow wise. This is how it works. Now on the logic part, what I have done, I have just created some dynamic uh, functions. Okay, I have created recursive functions. Okay, so first I'll be validating whether I will not spend much time on this. If needed, we could have a separate session to discuss on this data view, but just I'll give you the idea what I'm trying to do so that you can understand why we need this regex expression and where we use this exclude attribute and why we use this. Okay, I'm just trying to explain that. So what I will do, I'll iterate over an whole payload. I'll first identify whether it's a object, the payload is type of object, or it's an array. For that, once we identify that, I have created a recursive function. I'll call the same function and again until I traverse through all my string elements. Okay. So now this exclude attribute list array, so the purpose of this exclude attribute list array is like there might be a scenario where for specific field certain special characters are required. If I just said semicolon is not allowed, okay, but in one specific field, they could give or they could segregate the string based on the semicolon. Okay, so in that case we will define that specific key in our policy as a exclude attribute list. So whenever we are traversing through this payload attributes, that key will be ignored. We won't do our regular expression validation on that particular key. I hope that makes sense why we are using this. And then whatever regular expression we are receiving, that regular expression we are converting as a regex here. Okay, and that regex I'll be using on my string, where I will check if my string level key contains this regular expression. If it contains that regular expression, then we should not let that request go into our application. We should straight away reject that request from the policy. So you understood, right, guys, how I have implemented this? If you are interested to go through this data view, we could go through that as well. But as of now, this is the purpose of this particular data view. Okay, I'll take that
Yep,
as a
yep,
no.
Venkatesh, all good.
Sure. So now, what I'll do, we have created our policy. I'll just this, as I said, right? I'll just replace my artifact name so that we will create a new policy in API Manager. So this is my older one. Sorry. This is the old artifact name. First, I'll say find all. So I could find the occurrence of that name. You have to ensure the name should be same, because when you try to attach or upload your definition file, you have to give the same name whatever you have here during creating a schema file or packaging your artifact. Okay, so now I got the hit and the definition YAML schema meta mule artifact and pom. Okay, so let me just replace this. I have just added slash v1, or let's say meetup. Okay, I'll just replace this in the file. Okay, so it has been replaced now. So now what I'll do, I'll just create a package. npm clean. Okay, so meanwhile this is the package is getting built, right? What we'll do, we'll go on the exchange. I have created a trial account, and we'll try to create our schema files. Okay, so let me get the new name. Policy. Here I'll be uploading my JSON schema, and here I will be uploading my YAML schema, metadata YAML schema. Okay, so where it is. So I have added a JSON schema here. Here I'll be adding my definition YAML. Okay, so another note here, you cannot upload your policy in development. When you upload it, it will throw an error. When I was doing R&D on this, it was written somewhere in the documentation also that you cannot publish your policy in development mode, so it has to be a stable one. Okay, doing any changes in the group id asset and version. So let's click on publish. It will take a few seconds. Let's see. If there are any errors within your definition, schema, or YAML, right, it will prompt. During POC, I have captured some errors. Let's see if it publish. Then I'll show you. Okay, it has been published successfully. So I'll quickly show you that error. Okay, what was that error? So if you see, right, when I was publishing my definition file, I was not getting the proper format for data view expression, or there was something issue. Okay, so it has said malform schema definition file. So it, if your schema or metadata file is not valid, you will see all the errors here. It won't allow you to publish that particular asset. Now, once we publish the asset, the schema and metadata file which you have published, that you can download it from here. Okay, now if you observe here on the left bottom side, you could see the implementation state is as a pending, so implementation not yet attached. Okay, so now let's see if our jar is built now. So we can see our jar is ready. So let's go in policy. We have a target file, and yeah, I can see jar is there, 837. Okay, so now let's attach the implementation to our policy. I'll click here on implementation, click on add implementation. Again, we have to give the asset name. Okay, so let me just add a jar. Okay, and then the metadata file where we have defined our release notes and other details. Okay, I have added that, and I'll just give this as a meetup version 1. So FIFA. And if you see in advanced section, everything looks good. I'll click on add implementation. So it will just attach our implementation or upload our implementation to a uh, this particular policy. Let's give it a minute. Okay, the name I have given here as a V1. Okay, sorry. So this name, it matches with the name of metadata YAML. Okay, so now we could see 1.0.0 implementation has been attached to this asset. Okay, now we might get a question, right? We do have version here as well, and we have version here as well. So what is the significance of this two version? Okay, so as you can, as you have seen, here we are uploading a schema and metadata. If there are any changes in your properties, user configurable properties, okay, then you could upload your schema here and then treat that as a next version of your asset. Okay, but if there are no changes in your schema but there are changes in your logic template.xml, if there are changes in your template.xml, let's say you are doing some more validation, or you have added some more validation in template.xml, so you could just increment your version by uploading a jar. So you can just go inside, see implementation version, and you can upload a next version of your jar. Okay, and we'll see how we could attach this up the next version in our policy also. I'll show you at the end as well. Okay. So now we have the policy ready. So I have created one proxy application. So to that proxy application, I will try to attach this policy. Let me open the runtime manager as well. So this is just a sample proxy app which is deployed on Cloud of 2.0. Okay. So on the logs, you don't see anything here, right? It's just some random error message. Now I'll try to apply the policy. This is the one which I have created earlier. Now we'll apply our new one. So okay, the version I have given as the same, right? That's why it won't allow me. I have to delete my policy. I have just renamed the artifact. Let me remove this. Now I click on add policy. So now we can see our attribute special care validation policy meetup. Okay, that has been visible here. I'll just click on next, and here I'll quickly open our schema file. So here, as you can see, I have given regex and exclude attribute list. Okay, so same things are visible here. So whatever you will give in your title, that will visible here as a title. This is your description, visible as here. Now I have given a default value like this. Okay, so that will come as here, and here you can give the value like let's say some test attribute. Okay, and in the advanced section, so whatever version you will see, that would be your asset version, not the implementation version. Okay, in this drop down you will always see your asset version, and we will see after some time how when you add a newer implementation, how you could update to that to a newer one. Okay, we'll see that in some time. So let's apply on all resources. And if you have multiple attribute, right, that you can just segregate separate via comma. Okay, I'll just click on apply. Now it will take some time, and we'll see here we'll get the message saying that the policy has been applied. Let's see if it applies or not.
So in the meantime, guys, if you have any questions, you can post in the chat or you may unmute yourself and ask.
Venkatesh, I have one question. So
Mhm.
the implementation which you have done, I think it you are not using any connector. So how did you test it uh, before publishing it to the exchange?
I can't see there is one way where you synchronize your Anypoint Studio with your API manager. Okay, and you can download that policy. See, I have done it very long back. Okay, 4 or 5 years back. That's why I
Mhm.
vaguely remember. So you could test it on your local by applying that policy. Once you deployed application on your local, you could do that testing that way also.
Hmm.
Okay, but I have directly tested on cloud. So what I have done, I have created a data view in normal mule application. Okay, and that
Hmm.
data view part I have tested in normal mule application, and whatever XML will get generated there, that XML
Hmm.
I have copy pasted in the
Okay.
template.xml. Okay,
Okay. Okay.
so just
Ah.
created normal mule application, added a data view code, did a test, and then copy pasted here. Okay,
Hmm.
that's
Hmm.
approach I have followed now. But the approach what you're looking, where we could directly apply the policy, we could do that on Anypoint Studio also. I need
Hmm.
to brush up some things around that.
Mhm.
Okay, if I'll
Okay.
try to brush this up and I'll let you know.
Yeah, yeah, sure. In the second case, before doing it testing through Anypoint Studio, we have to publish it first on the
Yes.
exchange, then only we can use
Yeah,
it. Okay, got it.
then only. Because see, the rest all things straightforward, right? This
Mm-hmm.
1 minute. This tags, right? This
Hmm.
source. Then we have the HTTP policy next. All are the standard one, right? Only
Hmm.
thing what I have done, I have just tested this piece of code in normal sample application. Okay,
Okay.
till this
Hmm.
part. When I'm satisfied with my test, I just copy pasted that here. When you are copy pasting something here directly, you need to ensure that you add a proper namespace here as well. Okay. Now I'm
Hmm.
using all core expression. Okay. Now I'm using a validation also, right? So when I
Hmm.
have added a validation related code here, I had ensured that I will be adding the namespace of validation in my namespace list. Okay. If you don't
Okay.
add that, your code will fail. We have to take that
Good.
precautions when we do a manual copy paste.
Okay. Got it. Thank you.
Yeah, good. Thanks. Any other question, guys?
Hi, Vikas and Venkatesh. I have a question.
Okay. So now you can see this particular line,
I
right?
think there is one question, Venkatesh. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, please go
Am
ahead,
I
Vijay.
audible?
Yes, yes, yes. Please
Yes.
go ahead.
Thank you. Why not a format and function that we can implement in a data wave rather than policy?
Sorry, sorry.
Why not we can go with format or function option rather than we can go with policy in the first place?
As in, why can't we just have a single data view code and then refer as a function? That's what you're saying,
As I
right?
believe, like we can apply a function for a number of attribute values by defining.
See, if you see my
Yes.
use case here, right, that will
Mm-hmm.
valid for this particular application, application one. But I have the requirement for application 2, application 3, application 4, application 5. So I cannot reuse the data view function which is present in application 1 in application 2. So
So
another
it
solution, I have to copy paste that same data view code to application 2.
so it
Similarly
is
3, 4.
more or less like a fragment which has been initialized globally so that I can access across application. Is it?
You can say in that way.
Okay. Okay. Got
Yeah.
it. Yeah. Thank
It's,
you.
it's, it's just a policy, right? It's I would not say it's a I will not tightly say it's a fragment. It's a policy. Okay, but yeah, it's for global usage. Instead of
Okay.
I copy paste same data view code in all applications, and then later if any modification required, again I have to touch base upon all the applications, right?
Okay. I got it. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
There is one more question, Venkatesh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Maybe if you can check on the chat once, please.
Okay. Let me see. Uh, okay, I don't see the chat window. Okay, I see the chat now.
Yeah, the last question from Ravi.
Can
Yeah.
we have more than one implementation under one policy? Since I can see adding new managed implementations on after the charts, is there any priority we can set? Yeah, we can have many implementation, but at a time one implementation will attach to your application. Okay. So as I can show, I was showing you here. You are talking about this implementation only, right? So once I apply this implementation, I can have n number of implementation here. But at a time, a single implementation will be attached to your API. Let's say I have implementation 1, implementation 2, implementation 3. So at a time, only one implementation can be attached to this sample app. I hope that makes sense. I hope I was able to answer your question, right, Ravichandran?
Yeah, maybe Ravi, if you have a further question, maybe you can yourself and ask.
I'm planning to show you how we will
Venkatesh.
attach. Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, like if you go particular part, right, where I can able to add the implementation is still enabled. So, like if
Mm-hmm.
we are like it is a version wise thing, right? Like whatever the screen which you are showing, it's like we can update a new version and we can refer that one, right? But
Yes.
if you close this particular window and
Mm-hmm.
like, can you please just close this? Yeah, here like add implementation is still enabled, right? Manage implementation and we can add implementation.
This one you are saying?
So yeah, so if the is that means like we can have a different implementation mechanism and we can refer those things during our policy, or how it will be,
No, it's the
or
same
it's
one.
like a replica
I
of
never added it from
okay.
here, but it's the same one what we are
Hmm.
doing from here. So what we'll do, right? I'll just
Hmm.
do some small change in the policy and we'll add the implementation from here and we'll see how it works. I believe it's the
Okay.
same way we are adding from here, right? I believe it would
Okay.
be just create
Okay.
the same one. We'll see in
Okay.
2 minutes. Okay.
Okay, Venkatesh. Yeah. Thank you so
Sure.
much.
Yeah. But at a time, a single implementation can be attached.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Thank
if you
you.
see this particular line right here itself, we'll get that answer. So
Hmm.
it's say that the version 1.00 is applied. That version would be this version, my asset version, and then
Hmm.
implementation version 100. So that would be this version, what we create in
Okay.
the implementation.
Yeah.
Okay, so this has been applied. So now what I'll do, I'll quickly do a test. I'll not add any special character here. Okay, so I have added a http requester within my sample proxy application which is pointing to localhost 8082, so it will fail. Okay, so when I click on this particular request, it will failed and it will just give the same connection refused. Now when I go to my policy again, and here I see this is one of the special character I want to avoid, right? So I'll just add here a less than symbol and just click on send. Okay, so now you will see 200. Okay, because see, as I said, right, I don't have enterprise licensing, so I can't add the http extension, right? So I cannot modify the response. That's why whatever request payload you are sending, the same coming as a response, but I have added a loggers. Okay, so if you see in the template.xml, in my error handler I have added this logger cross script policy error. Okay, now let's see if we find that log message in our here. So if you see, right, cross script policy error, key has special character which is not allowed and the key name is message. Okay, so this tells us the policy is working. Okay, and it won't allow control goes to a actual application if validation is failing. Okay, now we have seen this value I have added, right, test. So what I'll do, I will not change the value, sorry, I will not change the value. I'll keep the value as is, and I'll just keep the key as a test, just to showcase. Sorry, just to showcase that the skip attribute is also working. I don't want to do validation on the test field. Okay, and when I'll apply, I'll just click this. Okay, it's applying it. Why it's applying it? Okay, I have given a dot. Sorry, guys. It has to be reapplied now. Sorry for delay. It has to be reapplied. Okay, let's wait for a minute. So meanwhile, what I'll do, I'll just create another version of a file. I'll just upload the same jar and I'll just change the notes. Okay, I have just added v1 here. And meanwhile, it's applying, right? The policy is applying. We'll just add that as an implementation. So let's try from here. Usually, so far I was adding everything from here, the new version. Now let's try from here and see. Okay, I guess I got your point now. Let's see. I have added a char. Yeah, it's creating multiple implementation also. Uh, Sorry, I forgot who asked the question. It's creating multiple implementations, and I don't know how we could apply this multiple implementations. Okay, frankly saying, I need to explore on this area. I never added policy from here, always adding from here. Okay, so I'll check and I'll get back how how this works. Okay, yeah. The one which I was planning to, I am confused which one is the older one. Let's see. This is the one, the older one. I'll add another implementation here. Okay. So my older version is 1.0.0. I'm adding as 1.0.1. I'll click on implementation. Meanwhile, let's see our recent configuration has been applied or not. Applied policy. So policy is applied, right? So let me just give the test. Hopefully, this should give me the localhost. Yeah. So now you see, right? I have added the attribute list test comma test2. So now it will let it. It will just keep that validation. And if I give some other value now, let's say message. So it should stop the flow. Okay. So policy is working fine. Now coming to updating the version, okay, we have added 1.0.1. So that we could see from here. Check for implementation updates. When you click on this, you will see here a new implementation for this particular asset has been released. So that details you can see here. You can decide to update or cancel. And when you just click on update, it will take a time, and when you see a policy applied message, there we will see release 1.0.1 is attached. So we'll wait for a few seconds here. Sorry, we are we're running here, but I'll just take five more minutes, guys. Sorry for that.
Yeah, no issues, Venkatesh. Yep. Yeah, it's a good discussion going. It's really good. Yeah, it's good to have
Thanks,
interaction
and
session. Yeah, thank you.
thanks. Yeah, meanwhile, it's the message is coming up, right? I guess because you asked about the medium link, right?
Yeah, maybe you
I'll
can
quickly
join that
share that.
blog which you have
Yeah.
published.
Yes. So here I have all the step by steps detail, where I have created a short videos as well. Uh, at the end, where you will see the same steps what we have followed, and here below I have added the files as well. So this is the command for our creating the template project. Then the JSON schema file. Then we have a YAML file, meta file, template XML. We have a pom.xml, then mule hyphen artifact JSON, package command. And this is a short video, not very much short, it's a 20 minutes video where you could see the same steps. Okay. I'll just add this link in the chat. Now, let's see if our policy has been applied or not. Okay, so as you can see, right, it's
Yep,
zero
it's
02.
applied. I think.
Yeah. So the assets version is still 100, but the implementation version is now 1.0.1. Okay, so we can see the policy has been applied with the latest implementation version. Okay. Now just going back to the same PPT where we have left. So now with this policy here itself, we will reject that unwanted request so that will not have any bad user experience. Okay, so this is how we have addressed our original problem with validation custom policy. Okay, and the same links. This is the link from the MuleSoft where I have found all this information related to the schema files and all other files and the steps to deploy the policy. And one question is still open about
That
the adding
multiple
multiple
development.
implementations. Yeah, I'll check and I'll get back on that.
Sure.
And this is the link of my Medium.
Yeah, maybe to answer to that question, maybe you can post in your Medium blog only.
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, I'm planning. Yeah,
Thank
Vikas.
you. Thank you,
Thanks.
Venkatesh. It was a really nice interactive session.
Yeah,
And
that's
yeah,
all.
thank you. Thank you,
Yes.
Venkatesh.
Yeah,
So if
over
we
to
have,
you.
guys, if you have any questions, feel free to ask to Venkatesh.
I hope this was helpful, guys.
Yep, this was super helpful, Venkatesh. It's quite complex topic, but you explained it very simple terms. Thank you.
Thanks, Vikas.
So yeah, so I think no more question, guys.
Yes.
Thank you, thank
Yeah,
you, and I will wrap up this meetup session and see you next time. Bye bye.
sure.
Good
Thanks,
night.
Vikas, for arranging this, and thanks everyone for joining late evening. Thank you all. Bye.
Thanks, Vikas.
Thanks, Francis. Bye bye.
Bye.